The U.S. Secret Service facing some very tough questions about security at the campaign rally on Saturday, as well as the security going into this Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Jade Jarvis now joins me live to talk about what others have to say about what happened Saturday and what we do going forward. And Jade, I know you spoke with a former Secret Service agent.
Yeah, that's right, Todd. I spoke with Joe LaSorsa. He was Secret Service for 20 years, from 1976 to 1996. He says the agency will likely now be going over any security plans and procedures with a fine-tooth comb.
My take is that we were very lucky. We dodged a silver bullet.
All eyes now on the U.S. Secret Service after former President Trump's attempted assassination. A 20-year-old taking aim at Trump from a rooftop roughly 164 yards away.
Luckily, they had a counter-sniper team deployed that immediately took out the assailant. And who knows how many lives that saved.
Joe LaSorsa is a former Secret Service agent who worked on President Ronald Reagan's detail after his assassination attempt in 1981. He has some questions about the measures taken to protect Trump.
It concerns me that they did not at least have an agent or a police officer on that roof. That is the shortcoming. And had they had an officer or an agent on that roof, we might not be speaking right now.
But overall, he believes the agents did their job.
If they feel that the individual or the situation calls for a shot, they take it. They did well.
We also spoke with Stuart Kaplan, a former special agent with the FBI. He is criticizing the Secret Service and believes they did not bring in enough resources to ensure Trump's safety. He says the agency employs not only boots-on-the-ground security, but also in the air by way of aircraft and drones, and that if the appropriate resources were in place, the threat could have been avoided.
Had they had the appropriate assets in place, this could have never happened, because this individual would have been neutralized before he would have even had the opportunity to traverse up on the ladder and get onto the rooftop.
Now, the Secret Service has said that they do not plan to make any changes to the security plan at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, and that they are confident with the measures that they have put in place. However, this morning, the director of the agency said that after Saturday's incident, they have implemented some changes to Trump's security detail to ensure his protection. Reporting live tonight, Jade Jarvis, WPBF 25 News.